and welcome to Training Tuesday, where we go through weekly tips and tricks to make your career just a little bit more awesome. This week, we are talking about one powerful question that you can ask in order to move yourself forward with ease. Now, in case you missed it, I'm back. I was out of office for the last 2 weeks in Europe, so we actually flew to Europe for one of my good friend's weddings in Croatia that I was actually in. And because we were there, we decided to bookend our trip, so we were able to see family on the front end. John and I did a mini baby moon on the Amalfi Coast afterwards, so it was a pretty awesome last 2 weeks, and now I'm back catching up on things. But while I was out of office, as I was getting ready for my trip to go out of office, I was thinking about kind of getting some stuff ready for you guys while I was out of town. So if you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I continue to post there occasionally. If you're in our Facebook community Hustle Hive, you saw that I had occasional posts there. But I wanted to make sure that there was some stuff set up for everyone for while I was out of office. And while I was doing that, as I was prepping for that, a few weeks before I went out of town, I was thinking to myself, of all of the extra, content that I would need to create to go out of town. So I was stressing about this. I was thinking about, okay, I need to come up with 2 extra topics for the Training Tuesdays while I'm out of town so that I can pre-record them and have those ready. And oh my gosh, when am I gonna have time to do it? And then it dawned on me, why am I taking all this work to make extra Training Tuesdays when I have a ton of Training Tuesdays from the last 2 years or something like that now that I could just repurpose and reshare for you guys, because I know that there's definitely some lessons in the archive that we could all use. And this was a huge aha for me, because instead of spending a ton of time trying to create extra content and putting extra work on myself, I realized I didn't have to do that, right? And unfortunately, this is something that happens a lot for a lot of women, especially with all the perfectionists that I work with, myself included, right? Because so often we get this idea that we need to do something and we feel like we need to do it to the nines. And so we put all this extra work on ourselves for not really any good reason, right? We make ourselves do more work than necessary, and we make things harder than they need to be. And all I want you to do is to stop doing that. Because the truth is, if you want to sustain in whatever it is that you're doing long term, you need to think about doing it in a strategic way. Think about doing it in a way that is taking advantage of the time you have and not creating extra work, because nobody needs that. I'm sure you have plenty of regular work to do in the first place. Right? And so that's why my tip this week, I wanted to share with you that one question that is always an important one for me and for clients to come back to, which is, what is the smallest thing you can do to have the biggest impact? So for me, before going out of town, that looked like, well, instead of making a bunch of new content, the smallest thing I could do would be to reshare existing content. Right? Ask that same question to yourself. What is the smallest thing I can do in this situation to get the biggest impact? And you can be asking yourself this all the time, right? Whether it's a career conversation, something in your business, all of the above. But use this question, because I know that it can be a really helpful one for all of you, okay? So start with that. Start with the tip. Tell me below. Give me a thumbs up if you're going to try using it. And in the meantime, happy working.